versus the beginning of the pandemic. And that's important because consumer spending accounts for 70% of the GDP, and in 2019 we spent $13.2 trillion. So a 10% bump in a single month from just one round of stimulus checks is a huge benefit to the real economy. The economy that we live in, not the one that's measured by how much money is in the stock market that's 84% owned by the richest 10%. And the money generated by consumer spending goes directly to companies in the form of revenue, which they can use to hire more people, which lowers unemployment. And it actually feels really stupid to be surprised by this or for this to even be news, but it is. Because for the last 40 years, Congress has been passing laws that lead to lower wages, fewer benefits, weaker unions, and higher taxes for the middle class to benefit billionaires because billionaires claim it's good for the economy. And it's actually outrageous that it took a global pandemic, an economic collapse, and mass unemployment to be able to see that giving even a couple $100 to normal people is way better for the economy than giving a couple hundred billionaires trillions of dollars in tax breaks, bailouts, and subsidies. Because rich people hoard their money and normal people spend it. Good morning, good news.
People know you're just some guy. So focus on authenticity and put...
This is really important advice for creators, but part of it has never sat quite right with me. And I think the reason is that we have a really set notion of what authenticity looks like. We've all seen influencers and brands use authenticity message.
What a busy day for an unknown Chicago stand-up comedian looks like. Worked from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. at a construction site. Then I went over to this park to this outdoor open mic. The mics call out in the open mic. They have shows and mics all summer long, so follow them on Instagram to check them out. Maybe shoot them a Venmo if you got cash lying around. Decent crowd in the park. Then I ran home after this, made dinner, ate really quick before heading over to the Laugh Factory where I had a show. Did a 6-minute spot at the Laugh Factory. Check out this sign. Didn't land the last joke the way I wanted to, so I left there, went over to the comedy bar to do the late night mic. They had a decent crowd that stuck around after their shows. Did that last joke and it landed, so I went home, got ready to do it all again. What a busy day.
Q&A with the homophobic, part 2.
Why do you hate gay people?
Because.
Okay, so I'm not even kidding, the UN just came out with a new statistic, and they did a study on what people find most attractive, and it was really interesting actually. The results were you.
White people, for some reason, have always found my presence to be comforting and non-threatening, probably mostly because of my smile. That's why I use my privilege as a palatable black person every day to remind white people of systemic injustice and inequity that exists in our world. Because as long as racism exists, y'all should never be comfortable.
Somebody asked.
White Claw Surge, increasing the alcohol percentage from 5% to 8%. You're going to start handing people drinks that taste the same, that have that same watery seltzer feel, and now it's going to be 8%. Next thing you know, you're naked in your neighbor's pool, and you haven't been invited. And this release coincides.
Okay, real talk, what is the difference between platonic and romantic relationships?
The word platonic and platonic friendship.
It's time to stop subtly hinting to people that you like them, because they won't pick up on it. Instead, hit them with the, hey, baby, won't you look my way?
I've heard that a 3 Michelin-star chef was using sparkling water to tenderize his steaks. I was like, there's no way that this works. So I went ahead and tried it. Using $1 steaks, I submerged it in sparkling water. And I'm telling you, this is weird. But then I went ahead and cooked it on the grill. And if you know me, you know I like a crust. Once that was done, the only thing left to do was to try it and see if it works.
So to answer the question, does the sparkling water actually work?
It works.
Yes, it does.
I've heard that
This is probably my favorite example of computational emergence. Now, every colored dot either attracts or repulses other colored dots depending on an initial rule set. And these simple rules of attraction and repulsion result in these simulated cellular critters, right? It's easy to personify them and
Think about how black men are shown in media. It's almost always as a stereotype. It's rare that we see ourselves portrayed in places like the...
How to make an overlay out of anything on After Effects. So first, make a solid and add...
I absolutely loved this reference taken by a Dorcas stock, so I am gonna bring...
Hey, did we ever find out what happened to those Washington protesters after that, whole blackout, and then they, saw all those, police officers, rinsing the street the next day, and then a bunch of these tweets came out, and they're like, no, everything is fine, I promise everything is fine, and they were all worded the same exact way. Did we ever find out what happened?
So let me get this straight. It takes you 2 hours to edit a 30-second video? My guy, we haven't even color graded it yet.
This is a mouse wheel with frictionless scrolling. This is a game called Cookie Clicker. Every time you hit the left click, you get a cookie. So I map my scroll wheel to left click, and now we're gonna see what happens. So to give you a baseline, I tried this game out without using the scroll wheel, and it took me about 15 seconds to get 100 cookies, and I get over 1,000 in about 10 seconds.
I just saw this person's video, and I thought it was really good, and they surprisingly got a lot of hate for it, so I can't stitch, but I'm going to tag them in the caption. It was basically talking about whether or not we should be radicalizing conservatives, and we absolutely should. Just not me, though. Y'all be safe. Just like they said in the video, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. Let me tell you why. I'll be tagging me in, like, Republican hype house, conservatives videos, or commenting debunk the 1350, and I appreciate y'all for that, but no. I've never done that on my page, and I will never do that on my page. We together have gotten so deep into the intricacies of how racism and misogyny is so ingrained in our society, I refuse to give the time of the day or even the respect to anyone who refuses to believe that those things even exist.
Yo, here's how to get those feature-based saw wobbles using serum. This is our beat so far. This is our super saw. Pull up serum, take out.
What's something you wish you didn't know? Neuroscientist here. I don't know if this counts as something.
As someone who works for a registered 501c3 nonprofit, I gotta be honest with y'all. It's probably more effective and impactful if you make your donations through informal means, like mutual aid funds, individual crowdfunding campaigns, and
I see a lot of analysis of people talking about theory. Theory is often used as not only a signal of like leftist credential, that you have read certain things so now you're qualified to talk about it, but also as the biggest prescriptive encouragement to other people. Read theory, read this, understand dialectics. And it's really interesting to me because theory is like great to read, and I mean when I can, I do enjoy reading it, but also the point of reading it is not for you to memorize and understand those theories, because no like philosophical or political theory from 100 years ago is going to inform anything that we want to do in government today, right? But the point of theory rather is to build your sociological imagination, for you to help think about different ways the world could be by first looking at how other people imagined different ways the world could be. I see a lot of analysis of people talking about theory. Theory is often used as not only a signal of like leftist credential, that you have read certain things so now you're qualified to talk about it, but also as the biggest prescriptive encouragement to other people. Read theory, read this, understand dialectics. And it's really interesting to me because theory is like great to read, and I mean when I can, I do enjoy reading it, but also the point of reading it is not for you to memorize and understand those theories, because no like philosophical or political theory from 100 years ago is
So, like, the last thing I need and or want right now is to get into...
Just go fund me. You ever notice that no matter what angle Mickey Mouse's head is in the animated version, his ears always face you? This makes perfect sense when he's looking straight ahead. But what about when he's in profile? Yep, still facing you. Why is that? Well, it's because if they drew the ears as they should look when he's in profile, they'd look like this. Mickey the Martian. I mean, it's one thing to see Mickey at Disney World in profile because it's real. But the animated version? Nope, that just won't do.
Today is day 7 of giving an ant a cracker every single day and then taking the cracker away. So he goes and tells all his ant friends, yo, there's this huge cracker over on the sidewalk. Let's go get it. But there's no cracker there because I took it away. And now all the other ants, think he's a liar because he's been doing this for a week, and every time they come out, there's no cracker there. And I'm going to keep doing this until the other ants get really mad at him, and they're like, listen, there was never any cracker there.
Good morning, Nat Turner freedom fighters. I said, good morning.
Current state of producer talk part. Steal these chords. Current state of producer.
Sometimes hear people say we're more divided by class than we are by race. I heard that recently and I was thinking about George Floyd. He basically got killed for being black, but he wasn't rich either, so did he get killed for being poor? Would that cop have murdered him if he was wearing a suit? Well, let's look at the statistics on this. White people are almost 4 times as likely to be killed by cops.
I'm still trying to find a fast typer. Tag, share, mention, do whatever it has to take to find this person. I know they're out there.
I see a lot of analysis of. This is a really interesting article. Imagine.
And they're even fast.
This is how to make anyone think you know how to play piano. Just play these 3 chords on the left hand. In the right hand, just play any black note. And this one. Play those in any order and it should sound like this.
I'm 31 and I just learned that most people live in Asia. How is this not taught? If I was explaining humans to aliens, this would be number 3 on my list. I'd be like, we have a few sexes and a lot of great genders. People have different skin and eye color, and the results of that have been a mixed bag. But we'll get to that in chapter 2, racism. It's most of the book.
I can't overstate how weird it is changing genders during a quarantine. I feel like I've been locked in a room while I turn into a werewolf. Plus, all my calls home are bananas. They all sound like, oh my god, are you and Dad okay? Oh, good. Say, do you remember how big Grandma Zerbal's tits got to be? That's another thing about transitioning to...
Cannot have countries that choose to not be a part of the market.
This is an absolutely brilliant take, and I encourage you all to go watch that series. But I saw this video, and I was